There's something no one tells you when your world falls apart. It's not just the pain that crushes you. It's the silence, the quiet moments when everyone else moves on and you're left alone with your thoughts. You stare at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering how something so devastating can feel so invisible to the rest of the world. But here's the truth that changed everything for me. Trauma doesn't have to be your prison. It can become your power. And the ancient Stoics knew exactly how. They didn't just talk about resilience, they embodied it. They lived through exile, betrayal, war, and death. And they didn't break, they transformed. I used to think Stoicism was about suppressing emotions, but I was wrong. Stoicism is about mastering them. It's about using pain as fuel, not dead weight. When Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action," he wasn't speaking in metaphors. He was living through the plague, political chaos, and the loss of his children. He wrote those words with bleeding hands and a shattered heart. And still, he ruled an empire. So what does that mean for you and me? It means your pain isn't meaningless. It means your scars aren't shameful. It means the darkness you're walking through right now can become the light that guides someone else. But let's go deeper. Because trauma doesn't just leave bruises, it rewires the brain. You start seeing danger where there is none. You anticipate betrayal, even in kindness. You armor up, because once upon a time, vulnerability got you hurt. The Stoics didn't ignore this. They embraced the battlefield of the mind. Epictetus, once a slave who was beaten so badly his leg was permanently crippled, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That's not denial, that's defiance. The world will wound you, people will disappoint you. But if you let every storm define you, you'll never learn how to stand in the rain without fear. There was a moment in my life when I hit bottom, a betrayal I didn't see coming, a grief I couldn't shake. I walked through my days like a ghost, smiling, but empty. And then I stumbled across a single Stoic phrase that broke through my numbness like thunder. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That hit me like a revelation, not because I suddenly felt better, but because I realized I didn't have to wait for the pain to end before I took control of my life again. The pain could come with me. I could move forward limping, but I would move. That's when everything began to change. I stopped asking, "Why did this happen to me?" And I started asking, "What will I build from this?" Stoicism isn't about never falling apart. It's about choosing who you'll be when you put yourself back together. I started journaling, just a few lines a day. At first, it felt pointless. But over time, I realized I was reclaiming something. My thoughts, my voice, my direction. When you write, you see the storm inside you. And when you see it clearly, you can start to steer through it. One day, I read something Seneca wrote. "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." That sentence hit like fire. I wasn't broken. I was being refined. And so, your trauma isn't the end of your story. It's the forge, the place where your future self is being shaped. But you have to choose it. You have to wake up every morning and say, "This didn't destroy me. It taught me where my true strength begins." You don't owe anyone a performance. You don't need to smile through agony or pretend you're okay when you're drowning. But you do owe yourself one thing, the decision not to give up. The Stoics weren't superheroes. They felt everything. They wept, bled, and mourned. But they didn't let that stop them. They used it. They turned their pain into philosophy. You can do the same. Your inner critic, the voice that tells you you're weak or ruined or unworthy, that voice isn't you. It's a remnant. A shadow left over from a moment you didn't choose. And the only way to silence it is not to fight it, but to prove it wrong. That's what triumph looks like, not a parade, not perfection, but walking into your life, scars and all, and saying, I'm still here, and I'm not done yet. And here's something else I learned. When you speak from your scars, not your wounds, you don't just heal, you help others heal too. Because pain shared becomes something sacred, a bridge, a mirror, a guidepost for someone else who's still in the dark. There's a kind of strength that doesn't roar. It just quietly refuses to break, and that strength is inside you right now. But you won't find it waiting, you'll find it moving, choosing, enduring. The Stoics called it virtue. Today, we call it grit, but it's more than toughness. It's meaning, purpose, the ability to take suffering and give it form, shape, a mission. That's what trauma transformed by Stoicism becomes. Not a weight, but a weapon, a way forward, a reason to keep going, a reason to rise. When I began treating every setback as a Stoic test, my relationship with pain changed. Pain was no longer an intruder. It was a messenger. It showed me where I still needed to grow. It revealed attachments I hadn't let go of, illusions I still clung to, and fears I hadn't yet faced. And when I leaned into it, with presence and courage, I found clarity. One day, I sat down and wrote everything I feared about my past: rejection, failure, humiliation, abandonment. And for each fear I asked, what would Seneca say? What would Marcus Aurelius do? And then I realized their answer was always the same. Let it shape you, not shatter you. So I started doing something radical. I thanked the pain. When my heart ached, I didn't run. I listened. When I felt anxious, I didn't numb myself. I slowed down and questioned my thoughts. When memories came rushing back, memories I had buried for years, I stopped hiding and simply observed. That's when I discovered Stoicism isn't cold. It's fire. Controlled, disciplined, focused fire. It doesn't freeze your emotions. It tempers them, like steel in the forge. And suddenly, I wasn't a victim of my story anymore. I became its author. Every hardship I had faced, the betrayals, the trauma, the losses, they became chapters I now wrote with intention. I remember one night, walking alone in the rain. I had just gone through another personal failure. But instead of drowning in it, I whispered a line from Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. I didn't flinch. I didn't collapse. I walked forward, drenched but dignified, and that moment, right there, felt like victory. Because Stoicism teaches us something most people forget. Inner strength is not loud. It's quiet. It doesn't show off. It simply endures. There's a misconception that healing means erasing the pain. But true Stoic healing means learning to live with it, shoulder to shoulder, without bitterness. You see, I still carry my wounds, but now they've become part of my armor. My trauma didn't disappear, but my relationship with it transformed. That's the difference between being broken and being shaped. Now, when challenges come, and they do, I don't ask, why me? I ask, what's the lesson here? And that question shifts everything. Because with that question, you take back control. Life will throw things at you that you never saw coming. People will hurt you. Opportunities will slip away. You will fall. But here's the truth. You are not made of glass. You are forged in fire. And the more you fall, the more you learn to rise with intention. That's the Stoic way, not denial, not suppression, but clarity, ownership, and inner resilience. You learn to sit with discomfort and still find peace. to walk through chaos and still act with virtue, to be wounded but not weakened. And this is where triumph begins, not in perfection, but in your persistence. So if you're listening to this and you've been through something that cracked you open, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not broken. You are becoming. You're being shaped into something wiser, stronger, and more grounded than ever before. Trauma isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of your evolution. So now I ask you, what has shaped you? What trauma have you transformed into wisdom? Share it in the comments. Let this be a space where stories of pain become stories of power. And if this message resonated with you, if you felt a shift, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel, because we're building something here, a sanctuary for the thinking soul. A place where pain becomes purpose, where philosophy isn't just theory, but a lived, breathing strength. And remember this, you have already survived the hardest parts. Now, it's time to rise.